everyone. Hi, Don.
Hi. So we're going to give everybody a chance to come in and just give me a quick
Yes,
minute so that I can send the link out in my Discord and then send it out to Twitter for anybody who has been looking forward to joining. Let me get it pulled up real
sure,
quick.
sure. Yes, you can do that.
What did you do today? What time is it there?
Now it's 6 a.m. on Monday.
Oh, that is early.
Early bird.
Yeah. What
Early
time do you
bird.
usually get up?
Yeah, I'm up anyway by this time. By 5:30, I'm up. But I
Yeah.
just, you know.
I am sending it right now. It is on Twitter. Go put it in Discord. There we go. Now, I wish the chat would come up. If whoever's in here, if you're in here, there's Kim. So I see it on my phone, but it is not. There it is. It finally pops up. So Kim is saying hi. Kim was so excited.
Oh, yes. Hi, Kim. Yeah.
She was so excited. Levi's
I
here.
also can see the messages now.
Levi's here.
Hi, Levi is here. Hi, Levi.
I think I told you that he sent me the movie, the Genie. Like whenever he sees the Genie from Aladdin now, everybody always thinks about you.
Yeah, he
love
sent a
it.
sweet message to me also that he was like trotting all over in his bedroom. He couldn't sleep that night, the following night. Too much energy.
Too much energy. Yeah, I know. I saw
Yeah.
him after our I love him so much. After our live stream, I was up too, because I'm always up late. And I went on Twitter and I see him, it's like Genie quotes. We're like fill in the blanks. It's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you live in his head. Well, you live in my head too. I mean, honestly, you're just in there all day and night. Hi, Derek. Derek's in there. Mike's
Oh,
in here.
Derek. Your partner in crime, Derek.
My partner in crime. Hi, Naylight. I love them. I'm excited that people from the business are in here because we have some news. The only one that I know, all of his notes go on Twitter now. He puts all his Genie notes on Twitter, Levi said. The only one that I know, Jackson wasn't able to make it, and then AMC Bets, the one that I call Jordan. I love him so much, but he's gonna rewatch it later. He had to do something with the family, right? He was helping somebody move. You just woke up from a nap, Derek. I don't even know what planet you live on anymore. You're on like two different planets. Derek just woke up from a nap. So the first thing before I start asking questions, because for me, we know I can talk forever. Did any of you, because I know we've had quite a few talks since last week, did any of you have any specific questions that you wanted to ask Genie, like about the universe and life or anything like that before we get started? Because I think every single day this week, while we're in the middle of trades and we're in the middle of market time, they're like, Dawn, text Genie. You have to tell him to do this, do that. I'm like, you guys have his number. You can text him now. Like, you don't have to ask me anymore. So Levi said, is there an exercise I could practice to develop the feeling of the wish fulfilled? That's a good question.
No, yeah, it's like this. The feeling of wish fulfilled is something that you have to get into, or it is something that you have to wear. We have to understand that, right? Because a feeling is something that you have to develop within yourself. Like someone can provoke that feeling, but if you take a feeling, any feeling, feelings come from within, right? So actually feelings are pre-existent to everything else. It is out of feeling that we get a thing called a desire, and then we get a motivation, we get courage, so on and so forth. That's how the wheel starts turning. So feeling is something that should be self-generated. But in this world, sometimes we cannot do that because it's so fast, it is so absorbing that we have never a chance to know. We sometimes even don't know what we are feeling because the world is so fast, you know. So when it comes to feeling, if you can't generate that feeling within yourself in a natural way, we can use forms, either physical forms or thought forms, like to reverse engineer that feeling. Okay, so now, for example, let's say you are feeling sad. So if you can't get happiness within yourself, you can use an external form to create that feeling of happiness.
So by that, would it be like, for me, it's music. I raise my vibrations really high with music. So I'll dance and I'll sing around my house, and that gives me the fulfilled feeling. Does that help me manifest what I want into my life by keeping that high vibration of something I enjoy?
Yeah, we'll come to that. That's an extension of the answer I was going to give you. You always do that. You ask a question a few steps in advance, right? So, Levi, so what you do is, for example, you cannot achieve anything if you cannot feel it before. You can never become a millionaire if you cannot feel you're a millionaire. That's actually how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you cannot win $1,000 for the day if you can't feel how it would feel, if you cannot embody that, right? So, Levi, what you can do is you can use some experience of yours to generate that feeling of happiness, you know, and then you embody that feeling. So, whether it's happiness, whether it's pride, whether it's a feeling of love, a feeling of compassion, a feeling of being successful, right? You can even watch one of your stars, one of your role models, and by looking at the person, you can imitate that feeling of being happy, being content, being proud, being courageous.
So you can fake it till you make it.
Hmm?
You can fake it till you make it, kind of, if you have to in the
So,
beginning.
so by faking it, but you can't keep the fake all the time.
Yeah.
Through the fake, you have to achieve that inner feeling. Whether whatever you want, whether you want pride, you want guts, like, you know, strength or happiness. Levi, am I taking you anywhere? Am I talking any sense? Or you want to ask any questions, cross questions? So so Don, you said about dancing, okay? So now by dancing, you acquire that happy energy, and you don't want to name it, whether this is happiness or joy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? Now you have a feeling. Why do you want to even name it? If you are feeling good about that feeling, just embody that feeling.
It makes me feel free. That's it.
Yeah. So whatever you call it, it raises your vibrations, it raises your frequency, and you're feeling good. You don't even have to name it. Why name it? Because when you name it, you're limiting it again.
Oh, you in this limiting.
Yeah. So when you maintain that feeling, that happy feeling, or whatever feeling you call it, you're putting out a certain frequency, a certain level of energy.
Yeah.
Then the universe will identify and tune into that energy, you know, and give you situations and circumstances, through people, through situations and circumstances, and give you material things that will match that energy that you're putting out, that feeling that you're putting out. You know, so that's the meaning of be. So you first have to acquire. If you don't have it, you got to use something physical to acquire it, and then you be that. You hold on to that.
Yeah. So Levi says, yes, I understand what you mean. I'm scripting and feeling good while I'm doing it, looking at my vision board and feeling that happiness.
Yeah. So then once you do that, once you acquire that, you have to put the form that made you go there, you have to put the form out, the material form that you thought of. And then you have to dwell in the feeling. Then it's a feeling that will emanate. It's a feeling that will put out the vibrations for the universe to supply you things that you want that will match that frequency.
So is it good when you're in that, like say when I'm done with my dancing or whatever, is it really important? I see so many people say they write down. I don't really write down too much. But I know for a lot of people, they're like I write down every day in my journal. I write down, you know, what I want for my life. Maybe it just keeps them in their goals and all of that. You know, like intentions, just write down your intentions or, you know, what you want. Kind of like a vision board, I guess. Would you say that that helps? Or is it, if you can just feel the way that you feel, it doesn't really make a difference?
It does help, but only up to a certain level. Actually, I want to comment on that also on Levy's statement. You know, Levy, try this. When we are having a live stream, right? Without writing, because when you write things down, your thoughts interfere. You know, and you're taking it more like in an intellectual way, not in a practical way. So when we talk now, it's always better to practice it immediately. You know, so try to acquire that feeling now as we talk. Try to raise your vibration now as we talk, rather than taking notes down now. You know, because that is very superficial. That is that because you know, we have thoughts that can generate happiness also, but then we can't be dwelling in the thought. We got to dwell in the feeling of happiness, not in the thought of happiness. There's a big difference between the two. You know, the thought of happiness and the feeling of happiness are two different things. If you try to analyze it, if you try to understand it intellectually, it's one thing, but it is always better to embody that immediately, right now, as we speak, and hold on to that energy.
And the good thing is, the recording will be on YouTube, so you can always go back and rewatch it after if you just wanted to take down those little like notes. You know, some people like to keep Post-its or something and just remind themselves stuff like that. But when you're with Genie, you gotta like absorb it like a sponge. I always did that. But the one thing I always did that he had just pointed out is I always overthink to the next like 3 or 4 steps ahead of where I am. I still sometimes do that, but I calmed it a lot. I got it almost all the way gone.
So that's what is important. Where you have to be lively embodying it. Otherwise, it's very abstract. Because we can have an abstract theory or a notion about that, but it is not. You can't compare that with the real feeling of it. So as we speak, you can ask questions, and when it's being answered, you have to relate to that and embody that right away. That energy, even for a few seconds, even for a few minutes, is more important than writing notes down and taking it home. And because you will keep on doing that, because they are only signposts. What is in your storyboard, what you paste here and there, they are only signposts. They are not the real thing. I mean, if you look at a map of America, that's not America. That's only a map of America. I can go to Wikipedia and read about America and like have the best knowledge. Yeah, I know about these states, I know the population, I know how they talk, I know the accent, I know this statistic, that statistic. And you say, yeah, I know about California, I know everything about California. But if you have never lived there, it's a different experience.
That's true.
Yeah, so listen to this. Knowing happiness is one thing. Knowing about happiness is something else. You can write a thesis about happiness and be the saddest person on earth.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
The most miserable person you can be, but you can write a thesis about happiness. You can write about love, but you don't know love. It's different, two things.
Yeah.
So you got to
just be intelligent. You can be intelligent enough to understand something, but not feel it.
Yeah, that's right. But what is important is that you first-hand experience it, experience the feeling.
Juan says he finds that writing is a great way to get into a relationship with my self-conscious and connect to my inner self. He's always on my Twitter too. He's amazing. I'll make a video and he's like, you tuned into exactly what I was thinking today. So he's really all about energy as well.
Yeah. So that's the writing is a good way to get into a relationship with myself. But you can't continue the relationship with writing. Once you get into a relationship, you have to make it alive, make it dynamic, make it real. You know? Yeah, welcome, Levi. So what you are, yeah, so that is also important. So writing is only a pointer. It's only a sign of direction, saying, okay, go this way. It's this way. And once you find the way, you got to live the way. You got to embody it. Like Levi, like I said last time, dwell in the feeling. You got to dwell in that. You can't be again dwelling in the feeling and analyzing it again, because then again you bring mind stuff into that.
Hi, AMC Kingdom. So how would you compare that thought process to when they say like meditate on the stuff that you want in your life? They say just like sit there, channel everything else out, close your eyes, and just envision what you want for your life. Would you say that that's a good way to try for people that are like newer to this to try to do that?
Yes, that's another way. That's another way of using physical form. That means all thought forms to get into that feeling. So you want something. So you use your thoughts to think about. You need thought is what thought does is thinking, right? So you use thought to think about it and to meditate on that. But then the idea is not to meditate on the thought. The idea is through the thought to get a feeling and to meditate on the feeling. Mm-hmm. That's the meaning of meditation. Meditation means you're dwelling in a certain state.
Got it.
You know, so you can't say, oh, I'm happy. You can say that to a certain level, but then when you say that, you will notice your body relaxes and you get a feeling or some kind of idea of what happiness is, some kind of a feeling. Your muscles will relax, and then gradually you must drop the word of saying I'm happy, and then get into the feeling of happiness that those words generated for you. And then you meditate on that, and then you dwell in that. That's when you start to emit very powerful signals into the universe. You know?
During meditation? During the meditation, or just when you're in that thought process?
No, so that is meditation. So you make that your meditation. You make the feeling that you acquired your meditation. You make that your practice. Even for that 5 minutes or 10 minutes, even if you can't sustain it for the whole day, you know, but then you get lost again, right? And when you remember it, again, you practice that and acquire that feeling. Because we all got to learn to live from within. That is a point of being powerful. That is a point of being taking action, not reaction. You know, we are all used to living a reactive way of life. You know, even our misery, even our happiness, we always get it from outside, which is true. It is good for a moment, but then for you to sustain it, you got to believe in yourself that you are embodying happiness, that you are emitting happiness.
Yeah, I live by that. I think it helps too. I don't know if you'd agree. Like for me, right when I wake up in the morning, I put myself in the state of I'm grateful. And I just feel grateful that I'm like here and I'm happy and I'm in that happy mood. And before I go to sleep at night, as I'm actually falling asleep, that's when I set my intentions. I don't even meditate anymore. I just will set an intention before I go to sleep. Think about I will have a feeling before I go to sleep after I set that intention, and then I go to sleep.
Yeah.
When you're sleeping, does that help?
Yeah, because what happens is when you go to sleep in any thought or any feeling, what happens is when you are asleep, your active mind shuts off. Your surface mind shuts off. That's what happens. then your subconscious takes over. So the things that the subconscious mind heard before you were going to sleep or as you were falling asleep is what the subconscious mind is going to put out to the universe while you are sleeping. And that is the most powerful energy that comes out from you, from your subconscious. Because your subconscious doesn't choose, it doesn't judge.
Yeah.
Whatever you tell it, it will synchronize with the universal energy and it will communicate with the universal energy and have this communication going on, and you sleep normally for a few hours, so then your subconscious mind is talking with the universe, so to speak, talking that this is what you want, this is what your thoughts have told you. But then sometimes in the night while you are sleeping, your thoughts get activated again and you have dreams. Most of the dreams are extensions of our thoughts. Okay, so what is most important is what thoughts you embody and what forms you generated through those thoughts just before falling asleep or while falling asleep. That energy is very powerful.
Juan said, my morning meditation clears my mind in order to take in all the love universe has to offer and place it in my heart for the day. Yeah, a lot of people meditate often.
That's very good. Yes. And then when you get that happiness, you dwell in that and put it out again. Then you get that back again, so it goes back and forth.
Kim said, sure. And I think people and me included sometimes get caught up in the steps of trying to be in the state of being when all of that is really a distraction. Thinking can actually get in the way. I agree with that 100%.
Yes, that's what I was explaining. I think it's beautiful. Kim has put it in a very nice way, in a different way and a very nice way. We get caught in the steps of doing it. We get caught in the signs of doing it. We get caught in the thoughts of doing it. In other words, we get caught in the description of it. The description and the described are two different things, So sometimes we think, okay, I'm very spiritual. I know this, I know that, I know these theories, I know this quotation, they will quote like, on and on again. But they're limited to words,
Derek said, Genie, what is your take on dreams? What you are saying makes sense to explain some of it, but what about when we have dreams that have seemingly nothing to do with anything we are thinking at the times? That's a whole nother topic.
No, when you go to sleep, you have no control of your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you go to sleep, you have no control of your thoughts. But we have thoughts, or there are thoughts in the human consciousness that you can't even remember sometimes. Sometimes something that you thought yesterday or 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even in your past life sometimes, right? So those thoughts can come and reverberate in your mind, right? So, and when you're sleeping, those thoughts become like dreams. Because even when you're awake, we actually think in pictures or we think in words, if you see that, if you notice.
I do both now. Yeah. I used to not.
We think in numbers, we think in pictures, we think in words. That's how we think. So when you are asleep also, that when the thinking mind gets activated, when the surface mind gets activated, you see those words, you see those pictures, and it's a dream.
So it's funny. So a lot of past life stuff can come up.
99% of the time, our thoughts are an extension of our own thoughts. Some of our thoughts have been unconscious to us, or we have been unconscious to those thoughts. And through a dream, those come to light. Then the dreams also show us what kind of inner self-talk or what kind of thoughts have been going in the subconscious level. So that's a good time to say, aha. So Derek says, I wasn't even thinking of that at that time, at those times. True. Although you were not thinking of them consciously, subconsciously, this chatter has been going on. And the dream brought it to light. So that shows that it's a good opportunity for you to see where you are actually dwelling.
So I got a really good thing. I got something fun we can do. Why doesn't somebody type in a short dream, not too long of an intricate of a dream? Because I've actually contacted Genie a few times about a dream to find out, like, it felt so much so that he was able to interpret that, because he's not just universal teachings and regular psychic readings. He can also interpret your dreams too and tell you what they mean. So that's something you guys can always contact him about as well. So I think it would be really cool if somebody wanted to share a dream and maybe he could break it down and explain to you the meaning of that dream. Then everybody can actually like have a little bit of an idea of what that actually means. Because I think a lot of times, like, we see dream dictionary online, but we never actually see somebody explaining what something means.
Yes, but then also don't ask about a dream that you had maybe a few weeks ago, a few months ago, because then that dream, it's a memory of that dream, and it is not the actual feeling. You
Got
know,
it.
yeah. So sometimes you may have had a dream 2 years ago, 10 years ago, but now it is different. You know, now it is different. Hi everyone, welcome.
Yes. So you need a fresh dream to be able to feel the energy, like something
That's the best, but generally. Talking about dreams, there are general answers, but dreams are always personal. Like, you know, we each individual is different. Likewise, every thought is different. So when you interpret a dream, you got to ask, what did you dream? How do you feel at that time? Did you see any signs, you know, content to that? Derek, did I answer your question? Derek, are you happy?
My lips aren't even pumped. I've always believed you only have thoughts, while ideas do not belong to you. They exist and flow in and around you.
Yeah, even thoughts don't belong to us. It's just so because it's a thought that is an idea. You can't have an idea without thought. You know, it's the same thing. Idea is a thought. You know, a feeling also is related to a thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in that sense,
Derek has these dreams all the time. So, and if you, I know you said it takes away from your energy when you're reading, so I'll read them. You don't have to read them. Like,
yeah,
I'm keeping,
okay.
I'll read them for you. So Derek says, I've been having a lot of dreams recently that just have a common theme of me having to defend my loved ones. The most recent one, I was shot protecting them and woke up feeling like I was bleeding. He gets this all the time, all the time.
Yeah, so now that is a trend that is happening during this time. So you got to first look at your own self before looking at your family, right? What is your relationship with your own self? Because the family is a reflection of you also in a certain way, right? So are there any particular, so now you said about blood, you know, and you also mentioned that it's about your family. So blood is generally is a sign of family connectedness, you know. So it is to do with your relationship. The most recent one
He was shot and he was like really bugged out.
Okay, yeah. So that means blood is a sign, is a symbol of family. Okay, so which means that you are called to extend more connection with the family, to bond more with the family. There are areas in your life where your relationships with your family members have not been very good, and here this is a sign for you to kind of re-evaluate and to reset your relationship with the family. There are certain areas which are not working well or not working in the right way that you would like to have it. So it's kind of your call. It's a sign asking you to reset the relationships with your family. So maybe at the moment or in the last few weeks or few months, you have been having some issues or certain malignments where, you know, you're not very well aligned with the family. So Derek, you may be undergoing certain things like that. So it's a good wake-up call for you to have a look at that, right? There was another interesting question someone asked: is karma a real thing? Right? Okay, let me not answer that yes or no. Let me explain what karma is. Okay. First of all, now karma has become a very fashionable word. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you got to understand how human consciousness goes through. Okay, Derek, thanks. How human consciousness works. Now we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have intentions, we have meanings to things that we do. Now, when you have these things, we generate a certain frequency of energy, and it comes out, and the universe recognizes that. So it can be hatred, it can be love, it can be joy, it can be happiness, it can be certain memories, it can be certain intentions that we wanted to do, to hurt someone, to love someone, to help someone, so many things, to make money. We have intentions. Now when you put these things out into the universe, I mean, you don't put anything out into the universe. What you dwell in, the universe gets, the universe understands. Then what happens is, whatever you generated, the universe will give back to you. So that is karma. Karma means, it's actually an Eastern word. Okay. Karma is an Eastern word. Karma means, in the Eastern language, where it originated, means action mixed with volition, action mixed with intention. That is karma. That is the meaning of the word karma. Now, if there's any action done without any intention, that doesn't cause karma. Now, for example, let's say I was walking, I accidentally knock someone, he falls off the building and he dies.
Okay, that's
Right?
good to know. I never asked that
Yeah.
question.
You
Unintentional.
did not create karma. You did not cause karma, because you had no intention of killing that man or pushing him down. It just happened. But it was your action, not a volition. But if you even hurt a man by planning it, by thinking about it, by having anger, by having vicious thoughts, even of taking revenge, that is volition. That is not action. So remember that always, volition creates and causes karma, not action.
That's important.
Yeah. So you can kill a man out of just action, or you can even hurt a man with volition. That volition is going to cause more bad karma than killing a man without knowing it.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, actually.
Yes.
I wonder, since we're always getting more karma as we progress through our lives, like, how long does it take? Like, what do you have to do specifically to, let's say, ward off one certain karma? Like, let's say I got in a fight with somebody, like a physical fight, purposely, even though I've never done that, but I purposely fought somebody. I don't like that person, and I punched them and we got an altercation. Like, how long would something like that take to clear versus, and also if somebody attacks me, because any physical fight I've ever been in my life, I've been attacked and had to defend myself. I've never started a physical altercation. Do those physical altercations where I hurt people, but I had to because I had to defend myself, count as karma?
Yes. If you had any thoughts at that time, if you had anger,
Well, yeah.
if you had thoughts of revenge, that has to come back, because you got to understand that whether it's good or bad, you generated an energy field of your thought process, and karma can't come back tenfold or any fold like that, because karma is only what you create, only what you cause. It can't increase or reduce, right? You are the only producer in this world. You are the only one who can have it through your intentions, through your volition. You are the only person who can create things. Only humans can create things. The universe cannot do anything without your intentions. So if you do karma, if you cause karma, it can only carry its own energy. It cannot increase or decrease, right? Then when now everything that we experience now, has been at one time, consciously or unconsciously, has been an intention or a generation of one of your thoughts, one of your feelings that is confronting you at this moment. Now, if you want to stop that moving forward like a wheel or snowballing, you can look at that situation and not react to it again. Now, for example, let's say you had done something wrong in the past, and a result of that comes and confronts you. And you react to that again and say, I don't want it, and you resist that, and you fight that situation also. What have you done? You have added onto a karma that you have already created in the past. So when that karma came to you, without acknowledging it, without diluting it, you have given it more energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it into further motion. You give it new life. And it will come back to you again and confront you.
Only more interesting. All right. Detective Popcorn has a question. Does it matter that I've saved someone's life from drowning? Because I feel like it was reaction. However, this June, he in turn had his life saved from drowning. Does that have anything to do with each other?
Yeah, but then it was a reaction to this man drowning. But then after saving this man, didn't you feel happy? Didn't you feel, I saved this man? Did you have that feeling of being grateful that you were able to save his life? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then you generated good karma. Although you did the act without knowing, it would have instinctively happened to you. But then you dwelled on that. So you dwelled on that, and you felt happy. You felt satisfied that you saved this man's life. Then you caused a karma. A karma doesn't mean bad, okay? Karma is good also. Karma is any energy that you have generated in the past coming to you in the physical form in this life, in this moment. That is what karma is, right? So that's why when something happened to you, even without thinking, because you have generated some good energy, that energy came and put a situation in front of you to save you from that.
I have a good question. So, like when somebody does something really like nasty, like just out of nasty intentions, negative thoughts, they want something like evil eye, when they say like evil eye, like I feel when people put evil eye on me. How long does it take for people to get their karma? Because sometimes it feels like forever. Like how long is the deciding factor of somebody getting instant karma versus 2 years that karma's coming? Is there like certain things that get
there's no time frame for karma to come, because it depends on the enormity of it. Because it's like this: when you put out an intention, it comes back to you as karma. Okay, so when you put out an intention, there are so many other intentions also that have been compiled where you have to experience. So in comparison to all that, we don't know what the order is that the universe can deliver this to you. So even a small karma sometimes can come back to you 10 years later, or even a small karma can come back to you tomorrow. We never know the time period when it's going to come back. That we cannot, because it is influenced by a billion factors, other factors, influences. Because this is a compilation of things. It's all a big ball. It's a big cycle. It's a big network of energy. So we never know how it's going to play itself out.
But like, so if somebody
excuse me, Kim asked some interesting question about dreams of someone chasing her. Was it Kim or someone else?
I think it was Kim and AMC Kingdom. Go back. John he has funny dreams. John's family is from Sri Lanka, by the way. He was very intrigued. They had a very long conversation about this. We'd have to really scroll up, but I didn't want. He had, for many years, I dreamed that I was flying. All right, so AMC Kingdom was...
So, a dream of someone chasing you? You see, if you ask me the dream, in real time, this is a bit of an abstract question, but nevertheless, it can mean a couple of things. One is that you are running away from your reality. It can mean that. Second thing, it can mean that people are chasing you to get the truth of you. So it can also mean that they want to learn something from you. Although you feel something, you feel it differently in the dream. You know, so those two things can, that particular dream can mean two things. One is that you're running away from reality. The other one is people want you. They want to get something from you. Not anything bad, not to steal anything, but to get something to benefit their lives.
He was saying he was
So
always felt like pulled back, like somebody pulling on him, like his foot or like pulling on him.
yeah, so it can mean either of them. But if the dream was told to me, in real time, not as an abstract thing, in real time, then I could have interpreted it, because dreams are always personal. You can't. Now you can go to the internet and get dream interpretations across the board.
Yeah,
they are fine.
I've done that before quite a few times. When I woke up, I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean, real quick? And I'll look it up. But it's still not the same thing as like really knowing what it means in the time. There's only so much you could tell from like a dream dictionary.
Yeah, so not dreaming doesn't mean that you did not dream. Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes not dreaming means that you can't remember the dream. That's the difference. Sometimes we dream, in the night when we are asleep, we dream. But mostly we can't remember the dream.
Derek. So Derek's question is, what is your take on things like alcohol or weed, for example? Abuse is obviously not a good thing, but even somewhat frequent use, does that affect the spiritual self?
Alcohol or drugs, they affect us physically, because what it does is it alters our chemicals in the brain and in the body, right? So that's the effect that alcohol has on us. So it's nothing spiritual, although alcohol is called spirits, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it affects our physiology, not our psychology. Through our physiology, it affects our psychology, where we think weird things and we go out of our mind, right? So first of all, it is a physical effect that it has on our body. Now, so it's always better, if you are on a spiritual path or even otherwise, not to drink, because you're physically altering your thought patterns, you're physically altering your emotions, either you're increasing them or decreasing them.
Yeah.
The drugs that have an effect on you, whether it's alcohol or drugs, they are actually a chemical change that affects our psychology. Now, for example, sometimes, very simple example, you eat a chocolate, you feel good. You eat something sweet, you feel good. So it's like that.
He was just, I told you a long time ago, he would smoke weed every single day of his life. So I told him, if you want to be on the spiritual journey, you cannot live a life of smoking weed every single day. But there's so many things out there that negate that. So there's people that say, yes, you can. It makes you even more spiritual and more this. And I'm like, no, but it doesn't, because I know I have to be in a clear state of mind to level up and do all these things all the time. And I wouldn't be able to do that like that. I just couldn't. I don't even barely drink anymore. I don't even remember the last time I went out and had a drink. Like, I still would once in a while, but
yeah, to a certain extent, drinking, smoking pot, if it makes you feel good, to a certain extent, it's okay. But then there's a limit. Then you can't, because then it's through an addiction that you are feeling spiritual. It's through an addiction that you are feeling good. But to a certain extent, it's good, because I'm sure if without alcohol, you'll find more people in asylums, in mental asylums, because people go off their head without smoking pot. Some people will not be able to manage the problems that they have, or not manage to cope with them. To a certain extent, it is good, it's therapeutic. But then how long do you want to depend on external things to become spiritual? then is the challenge where you want to go.
Because even I hear all the time, like even the food you're eating, like the more clean you eat, like the more clear like my messages would maybe come through, because I like my ice cream. I like certain things that I want to eat like sometimes, but there's so many people that are on like a spiritual journey that like just eat like vegetables and fruit only, and like, you know, everything organic. And does that make, you know, yourself more clear when you have gifts, or does it not matter?
Now, there are a lot of religions, there are a lot of belief systems that tell you don't eat meat, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't drink, don't smoke, it's sinful, so on and so forth. But remember, in life, not in this life form, but in generally in life, I have told you, I don't know whether I told you last time or earlier, that we live in three forms, you know, like matter, the form of being solid, liquid, and
Yeah.
gas. I think we went through this last time, right? Now, spirituality means you're embodying a lighter form, you know, which is liquid or gas. Now, talking about eating, drinking, smoking, all that is at the physical level. You know, so these are two different things actually. So being a spiritual person has nothing to do with the material things. You can have the material things or not. Your spirituality is something different, but of course there is a relation between the two of them.
I mean,
Of the
like, would
two.
it hinder your growth? I love growing on my journey. I don't want to stay stuck where I am. Like, I want to keep evolving and transforming all the time. Can those
Yeah.
things hinder you from evolving to the
Yeah,
next level?
because what you do physically definitely will affect you psychologically.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth. You know, like you can use electricity to generate magnetism, and you can use magnetism to generate electricity. So it's like reverse engineering. So you can use your physical body, you can use your physical input to affect you spiritually, and vice versa. Your spiritual life will affect your physical life also. You know, how you interact with people, what you talk, your thought processes, you know, all that.
What do you think of DMT? I don't know what DMT is.
Yeah, so DMT is also a chemical alteration of your thoughts, of your brain, right? So it's the same thing.
AMC Kingdom said, what about the demons at the foot of my bed holding me down? I guess
So,
that's
so DMT is also a way of altering your thought patterns, altering your neurons in the brain, where it generates these weird thoughts, these feelings of ecstasy, feelings of euphoria, all that, right? So it is something totally at a different level, but it's very similar to even food that you eat. There are some food that when you eat, you feel good, not as being addicted, not bringing you euphoria, but you generally feel good. So it's the same thing.
AMC Kingdom wants to know, what about the demons at the foot of my bed holding me down in his dreams? Because I guess has this repeated one.
Okay, can you explain what you have asked here? What about the demons at the foot of my bed holding me down?
This is in
Can
his
you
dream.
explain that a bit? Let's look into it, because this is very interesting. You know, now who are these demons? What do you call them? Why are you calling them demons? What is it that you're calling a demon?
What does it
Right?
look like?
And you are saying it's holding you down. So I mean, is it physically holding you down where you become paralyzed or like immobile, or what is it? Yes, spiritual experience and physical experience complement each other. You can't have one without the other, because we are a spirit living in a physical body. So there's a correlation, you know.
Dark silhouettes, he said.
That's a very vague word, right? You see, you're not very clear of what you're saying. Dark silhouettes. You see, you're still dwelling in the in words, can you tell me physically, can you look at that? Ask yourself what it really means in reality,
Dark silhouettes, and
You
then
you use the words demons pulling you down, from your something like that. Yeah.
and then he becomes paralyzed, and only his eyes can move. There's so many questions. So many questions.
No, we will attend to this Kim's question because this is a real question she's asking. This is a practical question. This is not a abstract question. A few weeks ago, I had a huge loss and have been grieving. I have been allowing myself to live in a state of being and working on it, but I feel stuck. I feel off. So now that's a very real question. It's not an abstract question. It is something that you have really experienced and you're caught in that, and now you want to find a solution, right? So Kim, this situation, what happened to you, this loss was a fact. It was a fact. When it happened, I can say it is a fact that it happened. Now what you're doing is you're carrying the thoughts and the memories of it, right? And those thoughts and memories, or those thoughts as memories, are affecting you emotionally, right? Now what you got to, one way you can get out of this is to accept the fact that you are affected by that incident. You can't deny the incident, it actually happened.
Yeah.
But now you're keeping the thoughts and the memories alive. You can keep the thoughts and memories alive also, because you can't get rid of memories that easy. But you can stop those thoughts and memories affecting your emotions and feelings and your reactions to that. So when those feelings come to you, you practice this, okay? When those feelings of feeling bad, feeling sad, feeling stuck comes to you, dwell in that as if you're helpless. Now, a person like Kim, I think because she has gone into the spiritual practice quite deeply, a person like her can relate to this, where you dwell in that feeling and you negate that. You don't escape that. Because the feeling that you have is also an energy movement, as a reaction to what happened many years ago, or few weeks ago, or a few months ago, right? So when those thoughts come, you just look at it, and just be with that, and you will notice the energy of those feelings that keep coming back to you, the intensity of it will reduce, and gradually it will go away like that.
Yeah.
It's like a small child trying to get your attention. If you don't give it attention, or if you resist it, if you ask it to shut up, it will come back. But if you pay attention to that and acknowledge it, it will soften itself. It will become softer and softer, and it will go away. Just try that and see. Dwell
there's
in
a way
that
around it.
And negate it. Acknowledge it.
Got it. So I'm going to start, because I'm trying to, everybody's asking kind of question. I'm going to ask this one. Levi asked, what about masturbation? Read, it is bad for spiritual growth, health, stability, etc. What is your thought on that?
About masturbation. Yeah. So what is masturbation? Masturbation is, at the extreme level, it can be an addiction. So if it's an addiction, we are talking of something else. You're welcome, Kim. Right? If you're talking of masturbation as an addiction, okay, it's something else. It's a clinical situation. It has to be addressed through counseling and all that. But if you generally masturbate, it is because of a certain sexual energy that's in our body, which is a physical thing. There's nothing wrong in that. Right? And you want to put that energy out.
What does masturbation energy put out? Is it going to bring me in something good?
Sorry?
What energy does it put out? What if you do that? Like, what
energy?
does it?
So when you ejaculate,
That's a great conversation.
when that happens, you have put that energy out. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes you notice you go to work, you're stressed out. There's so much of energy built in you, and you can't. There's no way of putting it out. You go and hit something, go and hit some balls. Go to a golf range and hit some balls, or you take a racket and hit balls. You feel good. You have released that energy.
Mm-hmm.
You may have noticed sometimes like two dogs fighting, right? And they fight and they get away and they shake themselves. Have you seen that? They shake themselves. You see it with birds also. You see, especially with ducks and birds like that. When they have a fight, after
Yeah.
the fight, they shake themselves. And that is to release the excess energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So masturbation, in a physical sense, is okay because you are using that to release certain amount of energy. But then otherwise also people who are indulgent in thoughts about sexuality, who have a big sexual drive sexually, can also indulge in that. So physically it's one thing, psychologically it's a different thing.
Mm.
So one way it's okay, but then if it's becoming an addiction, then it's a situation that you have to address differently.
John, this is really a question. John's question. Is it important to always be at your best? For instance, instead of doing chores at night, I put them off. I watch TV. I do something like that or play video games. Not every night, just sometimes.
Is it always good to do your best? Is that
Is
the
it
question?
important to always be at your best?
Well, that is also a relative question, but it is yes. But then you got to find out, what do you mean by your best? Is it to fulfill some kind of external full desire, or is it something to feel satisfied within? So you can do your best to impress people. So what is the reason you want to? The reason behind it. Why are you doing your best? Is it to satisfy you or to satisfy someone else? To satisfy your neighbor, to show off and have satisfaction, or to satisfy your parents, to satisfy your wife or husband, you know. Then it becomes stress. It doesn't become happiness. Then you're doing your best for different reasons. That is something else, because that generates very dense energy. It contaminates the energy field of what you're doing. That
Mm-hmm.
can lead to sickness, that can lead to imbalances in your energy. So you got to be very careful to find out, why am I doing my best, or why am I pushing myself to do my best? If you're toiling too hard, that means you're not aligned with your true self.
Mm-hmm.
So that alignment with your true self is the most important thing. If
Yes.
you're doing it for other purposes, for other reasons, then you're not in alignment with yourself. Then you will one day stress out, and the body can't take it anymore, but your mind is pushing it so hard, the brain will make your body sick to stop you from doing that.
Yep. I just have to say, if somebody doesn't like an answer, you don't have to like an answer, but you don't have to keep arguing the answer, because everybody can have a different point of view. But I found too, like, there was this guy, Brian. And this guy, Brian, like, he was so interested in my spirituality, and he would message me all the time, like, Dawn, I can see what you're doing. I see you're manifesting your life and you're in this energy. And I was like, he was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I barely ever have a drink. And he's like, well, I do drugs every day. That's not true. You can do drugs every day and be so. And I'm like, well, if that's what you believe, then why are you asking me? Like, just keep doing whatever you're doing. Like, I'm telling you the answers I know that works for me. That works for me. I don't know how you could stay in that state of mind every day and be on a spiritual growth journey. I wouldn't be able to do it. My mind has to be clear. Like, I have to have my energy. It's not my mind. My energy has to always be open, expanding, and clear.
Yes, you can't live your life on theories. It doesn't work for long. It
Mm-hmm.
works okay, but now especially the people here in this room here, in this conversation, they have a certain calling to a spiritual side, to develop themselves in a certain direction. That's why all of you all are here. You should understand that. That means there's something inside you, inside your psyche, inside your heart, that has been awakened, right? And that's why you're spending this time here.
What does
So,
this
which
mean?
means whatever level you are in, some part of you has been touched to open up to a new journey, to a new, untouched, untapped potential in you for growth, to be aligned with yourself, to be aligned with the universal energy, to be aligned with life itself, not in abstraction, but in real life, in dynamic life. So that is one reason you are all here. But your maturity can be at different levels. Your state of consciousness, your level of consciousness can be at different levels. Never mind. But this is the important thing, that you have been responsive. You have been touched and you have become responsive to something. When you have come to this level, you will never go back. When you have opened yourself to this kind of work, to this kind of discourse, to this kind of conversation, you will never ever go back. So
I can never go back to being a regular.
never, even if you are not aware of it, you will never go back. You will only move forward now, because you are open now. At least a small, tiny pore has been opened. So that is very great. There will be a shift in your consciousness. There will be a shift in your energy field. Life will never be the same again. You'll be on a different path. Of course, in different intensities at different levels, but it will never be the same again.
It's weird how it just hits you too. Like we were talking about, you feel like you're almost like a time shift happens. It's just will come out of nowhere. Is there something you do directly before that makes that happen? Or is it just like a delayed reaction to something you've done spiritually? When you feel like you shift timelines?
No, again, sometime back, over the years, over lifetimes, these are all compilations of what we wanted, what we intended, what we reacted to. These are all. So time and again, we get these openings, opportunities to move, to get into this new field, to get into this new opening, to get into this new realm. So like say any matter, we are always living at different forms of it, either as solid, liquid, or gas, or spirit. So we always move up and down, but then we find a balance and we feel, okay, I like to be at this level, at the liquid level, or at the gas level. So you keep increasing your energies, and you become lighter and lighter and lighter. The opening is generally 99.9% is by chance. It's a call of grace, so to speak. It is coming through your karma. That you get awakened to a teaching, or you get awakened to some truth.
I want to talk about, I know you know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this so bad. This whole Kundalini awakening. I didn't even know that was the name of it, but that's what happened to me in June. I feel like that is such an important topic to just go over just a little bit. I don't know if anybody else, they're still talking about chemicals, but we'll move on to something else for a little while. The Kundalini awakening, you were able to explain it, but for me, I did not feel fully awakened until I had that Kundalini awakening and went into like 4 days of literal spiritual psychosis. Like, I want to know, does that happen to everybody? Do they go into a spiritual psychosis right after that? It's like the feeling of when you know all the answers all of a sudden, it's just like everything at one time. I can't even explain it. Did you have one? I didn't even ask.
Now this experience you're talking about is always personal.
Oh God.
Right? It's something very personal. So when we talk about it, what happens is, to someone else, it's abstract.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a theory for that person, or it's only something intellectual. It is not the reality for that person.
Yeah. Well, not everybody goes through that.
Not everybody goes through that. And so
Why did
talking about it with another person is like talking about a fairy tale.
yeah.
It's something that nobody can understand that.
Did
It
you
is
have
only a
it?
person who has experienced that. If you have never burnt your finger on a flame, you can never explain that to someone who has never experienced heat, for
Yeah.
example. How can
I
you
just don't
explain that?
understand how you can keep growing spiritually if you don't have that. That was like a jolt of I can't explain. I just can't of whatever
Yeah,
that was.
so
Did you have that?
no, I haven't, but not in the way that you it has happened to you. But basically, what happens is this: the experiences can vary in form and in intensity. What basically happens is, like I have told you, is what do you mean by this awakening, or whatever you call it? What does it happen? What happens is your level of existence changes from being solid. That means solid means you're only following the physical world. You're only following the physical principles. You are stuck in the physical world, you know. So that's the meaning of you being solid. Then your vibrations increase, right? So just like a cube of ice, when the heat increases, the ice becomes liquid. When the heat increases more, the liquid becomes vapor. It
Mhm.
becomes spirit. So it is something like that. So when your energy increases due to various reasons, sometimes tragedy makes you to come into this uh, spiritual path, because you have been so stuck with materialism, with facts, with figures, with arguments, with prejudices, with logic, with judgments, and all that.
Like dark
Sometimes
night of the soul.
something drastic happens to pull you out of it and to remind you that there's another way of being. You don't have to be rock solid all the time. You can be liquid, you can be flexible, you can understand things, you can move, spiritually, and then you become spiritual.
It's just
So
something that has to be
so
like
what
experienced.
happens is in our body, in our spine, right at the bottom is the solid level, and as it goes higher and higher, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter because of the raising of the energy. Like when you increase the heat, the ice melts, and when you keep increasing the heat, the melted ice, which we call water now, becomes vapor, right? So this so-called kundalini effect actually is energy at the bottom rising to the top
But
and
it's
making
like
you light.
speed, like lightning speed. Like I was even sitting there with Derek and I was like, wait a minute, my whole entire room has sevens all over the room. What the hell has happened? It just started like that.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
So it can
like
happen like a
everything I looked at was different. Nothing looked the
yeah,
same anymore. The whole world was a different world in
yeah.
2 seconds.
It can happen in a jolt like a lightning strike. It can happen gradually. So it can happen in different ways. The point is that your energy has shifted from being very solid to being judgmental to being uh, always only believing in physical matter. You know, it gets released. All the energy gets released and it goes in.
I guess it's more rare for the like Kundalini type shocking awakening than it is for people slowly over time. Maybe that's more common. I just wonder why that
Then
happens.
also this word Kundalini has become so corrupt, so adulterated, so misused. So it's always better to talk about the experience than naming it, you know.
I just feel like a lot of people have been talking about that lately and have been having that experience.
Yes, now it's happening very frequently to people, but then there are people who fake it also just to
Yeah.
feel in fashion, to feel hip,
It's not
you know.
something people want to be proud of and all happy. That should not be a trendy thing. It is not fun. It is not a fun experience at all. It's very scary. That was the most scary experience of my entire life. Even though it was the most beautiful, it is the most scary. I don't think people really understand it. You literally will lose your mind for a few days. Like, you cannot comprehend all life's answers and all these things in that matter of time when your brain was normal 5 seconds ago. Your body and your minds can't handle it. So
Yeah.
crazy. It's a lot. And then you get ascension symptoms at the same time too. So you're getting all physical things happening to you. I kept saying, I feel like I'm on a boat. I mean, I already had vertigo, but I mean, it was like this the whole 4 days. Like, I couldn't even barely stand straight sometimes at all. It was crazy.
Yeah. But then, now, when you have such an experience, a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that they have arrived. They are complete. You are never
I
complete.
did.
You can never arrive, because life is a dynamic thing. You know, it always changes. It always moves. It always moves.
Mhm.
So the only thing that happens is that you rise higher and higher.
Yet
Like I
again.
told you, like you increase the heat, and the water changes its form from solid to liquid to gas, right? So you can even heat gas some more and make it even lighter. So it's always moving all the time. You can never say I have arrived and I'm done. You know, it's never like that.
Oh, I
You
just
will
thought it
never
had like
fall.
cracked the
You will
code and
never
it was
fall
over.
back to the ground, but you can always,
Yeah.
you know,
Now
go a bit lower. You know.
Yeah, now I understand that but at that moment you're like, whoa, I have everything. It's all done. Like, cracked code. No, it just keeps going. It never ends. It never freaking ends. He has drug questions again. That's what this is about. Because we already went over that topic.
Because then you have to, Dawn, you got to again dwell in that energy field. You got to absorb it. You got to make that your reality. Then your life changes physically, your life changes psychologically, your thought patterns change, you operate through mostly on compassion, not through drive, not through desire, you know. So that's the shift that we are talking about. It's a spiritual shift. So your reality changes from something of being uh, driven by ego, something to driven by courage, driven by anger, you know, all these lower levels of energy levels, to something higher, which is reason, which is love, which is compassion. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't
so
have an ego.
that is the true embodiment of an awakening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever experience that you have gone through, whatever description you give, ultimately it's where you dwell. You know, how much compassion do you have? How much love do you have? Love doesn't mean as a relative love, but you know, unconditional love. That is the real measurement of where you are. You know.
Unconditional love for yourself or unconditional love like for
So
humanity?
when you say for yourself, it's not. It's conditional, right?
Loving myself is conditional?
Yeah, so you're loving yourself. It's just love. Why love yourself or any self? Just love. Self-love is something else. It is something else. I'm talking of love. I'm talking of compassion. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just a state of being. It is not. It has no connection to form. It is just an energy field that you occupy. When you say self-love, it's a different thing altogether. But
Yeah, that's what I was asking. What type of
yeah,
love? But I guess it's just all encompassing.
yeah,
Just out of like love and light, like I would say, just like love and light,
yeah.
that type of a thing, that energy. I've
Yeah, so
always
that energy,
that energy.
you can't name it, you can't limit it. You know, you can't say whether it's self love or universal love. Or, you know, you can even to say unconditional love is it's just a state of knowing that you are there. It is not something. You know, you can love somebody, you can love yourself, you can love your partner, your husband and wife, you can love your neighbor. You know, those are all related to things. You know, where we have to do to show that. You know, we have to do some act, we got to do some give some meaning, to give some reason to do that. So that is very relative. relative love. But here we are talking of love itself and the embodiment of it. You don't need form to have that love. You don't need form.
Yeah.
It's compassion, you know.
And like empathy. If you're just always operating out of love, then you should always be at like a good frequency. If you're just operating out of love in general throughout your day.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
love doesn't mean even giving. That is also relative love. You know. You know, you don't give for any reason. You just give. You know, not to even feel good. So those are two different things. You know.
Jehovah's here. I love him. I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, I think first time we are seeing him here too. Yeah.
Yeah, he watches me sometimes. I used to see him all the time when I was in a different business. So I haven't seen him in a long time. I miss him so much. He has such good energy. He's amazing. Did anybody, I would love to ask, I am very happy. Thank you. I love that people could see that I am. You know why? For me, I had to be happy within myself to actually be happy. And I was not realized I was putting my happiness on if this happens or if that happens. And no, it was like, I just had to find happiness in me.
Exactly. That's right.
How
Yes.
That's how everything changed. Does anybody, last time nobody had not one. I just wanted to see, did anybody have one personal question? I don't mean a universal question. I mean, as he also does personal readings, a question pertaining to your life. Something about your relationship, something about your personal life. I just wanted to see if anybody had any question about that. Because I said we would take a couple of questions, personal questions, if people came and they had any. I'm not sure what Neuralink is.
Okay, let's talk about something. Okay, I'll ask a question now. What is your relationship with yourself?
Me?
I'm asking everyone. I'm asking an open question. Don't answer.
I won't.
Right? You try to ask this question from yourself. What is, I will talk on that, right? What is, don't even answer it. First inquire. What is your relationship with yourself? Now, what do I mean by yourself? I mean your relationship, your day-to-day relationship, your live relationship at this moment, every moment of your life. What is your relationship with your thoughts? You know, your mind has thoughts all the time, right? What is your relationship with your thoughts? Is it in conflict with your thoughts? Is it in contradiction? Or is it in alignment? What is your relationship with your feelings and emotions? Right now, this is the meaning of what is the relationship with yourself. So yourself consists of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That is yourself. Are you at home with yourself? That means, are you at home with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions? What is your reaction to that? What is your relationship with that? How do you feel? Do your thoughts, feelings, and emotions make you happy, sad, reactionary, in conflict, wanting to be better, want to be different? What is your relationship of you have with yourself? Which means, I keep repeating, I'm sorry, what is your relationship with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions? Right? So you got to answer that question. You got to look at that question. You got to look at that situation. It's real time. It's not an abstract question. Even right now, I am talking to you all. You all are putting up comments here and questions here. I'm answering some of them. I'm not answering some of them. Then things are going on in my head. Then when we go about, now here we have a different environment. It's a certain group. We have common goals, common likes and dislikes. When we go into the world, when we're at home alone, when you're watching TV, when you're doing the dishes or going to work or while working, always ask yourself, what is the relationship I have with myself right now?
That's good.
You know, That is real living. That is the reality, because the relationship you're having with yourself right now, I mean, not only now, even tomorrow when you go to work, at that now, tomorrow there'll be another now, right?
Yeah.
If you are now, tomorrow will come in as the now. So find that out. Sometimes our mind tells us to do something. We like to do something, but we don't want to do it. Or we want to do something and we don't like to do it. The world tells us to be this way, but I am something else. I am something else, and the world wants us to do this way, and I'm in conflict with myself.
Yeah.
You see? So that is the relationship I have with myself right now, or in my life in general.
I love
Right?
Mike.
My thoughts, my feelings, and emotions are conflict. Sometimes you are having conflicts with your own thoughts and emotions also. So if you are having a relationship with yourself of that nature, how can you have good relationships with your friend, with your neighbor, with your husband or wife? Right? Now that's what dictate, that's what will dominate, that's what will cause our karma for the future. Right? So it
Mike,
starts
good
with,
question. This. He said, I noticed my thoughts, feelings, and emotion used to be almost uncontrollable. Now I feel very controlled and calm. Is that something that comes with age?
not necessarily, you can come to that situation with age or even at a younger time. You know?
It's your own growth, your own
So
journey.
it doesn't matter whether it comes in age or not. Now again, you're bringing out like a theory or a philosophy
No, I'm
or
agreeing with you.
no. The question you asked, does it come with age? Again, that's an abstract question. It doesn't matter when it comes or when it doesn't come. What matters is now you are hearing this word. You know, now if there was a 15-year-old here, if there was a 60-year-old here, both of them will listen to me. But sometimes the 15-year-old might come to a realization, and the 60-year-old person will not. So it has nothing to do with age also.
Yeah.
You know,
It was Mike's question. Mike
it
had.
is how you understand. It is how you relate to yourself at that moment.
This is a good question John has. What is the best way to deal with someone dealing with depression, and how can he help that person?
Okay, what do you mean by dealing with depression? What do you mean he's dealing with depression? What do you mean by the word dealing in that instance? That means he's undergoing depression or he's trying to sort it out.
I guess John has to answer that. Let's wait for John. Suffering from depression.
Basically suffering from depression, right?
Severe depression.
So he has depression. So the best thing you can do is just to let it be, because that is the reality of that moment. Okay, but then after that, you got to take action on that to help him to overcome depression. That is, of course, something sometimes beyond your control. But the important thing is that you accept that state of him as a reality at this moment. You should not have conflict with that person. That is the best gift that you can give him, you know. But then you don't just leave him like that. You got to help him to overcome that, you know, to help him to, no, even to another person, you can accept that person as a person who's having depression, you know, and then after that you act on it. You can go for medical treatment, you can go for counseling, you can go for therapy, you know, so on and so forth. But the most important thing is to let that person be, not to have conflict with that situation of his. That's the best gift that you can give to anyone, whether he's sad, whether he's happy, whether he's depressed, or whatever.
Yeah, it adds
But
to the
you got to remember this. I will tell you what depression is. Depression is a state of mind where your thoughts are creating negative thoughts about a situation. Tell me anything else that is depression other than that. Now, this word depression has become a fad. It has become like a fashion word. You know, depression means we are in a situation and our mind is in conflict with that situation. And that doesn't make me happy. So I'm asking the question, is depression a state of fact or is it a state of reaction? You know, generally and mostly, depression is a state of mind where we are in conflict with what is. When we are not ready to take responsibility, to accept the fact that I am in conflict with this situation, and that depresses us. I'm not saying that the situation you're in is right or wrong. I'm just telling you how depression starts and how it is sustained by us.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Depression is most of the time it's our reaction to a certain situation. I'm not happy with the situation I am in. So that means it's a thought. You know, I'm not happy the way the situation is, the way that person is, the way my wife is, the way my salary is, the way my job is. So it is the thought that causes depression, and also it's the thought that continues and sustains depression.
Yeah, I had so many negative thoughts in a past relationship that I like put myself into a depression. I couldn't see a way out. It was just like no way out of it at that time.
Yeah, you see, Yoha, when you say if you haven't experienced true depression, you don't know depression. I was telling you, depression, the cause of depression is that how you react to a situation. There's nothing called, so whether you have, everybody need not experience depression. It's your state of mind. You know, depression means there is a situation and you don't like it and you react to it. You know, so it's obvious a person who hasn't undergone depression knows depression. So, but that doesn't mean that depression is justifiable. If you understand the cause of depression is your own self. That is the hard truth. I'm sorry to tell you that. A lot of people don't like it, especially the medical field. They don't like it because they have made tablets for depression now. So they can't sell the tablets. So they don't want to face reality. Depression means, now it has been proven, I have read recently, that depression is not merely a chemical reaction. It is a thought. Some people love depression because they derive their sense of identity. They derive their sense of ego through depression. Because everybody pays attention, oh my God, he's depressed because of this situation, because of that tragedy. And they love it. And they don't want to get out of that depression because they have more value in society being depressed than being normal. You know, so it's a big complex thing. But if you do not accept that depression is caused through your thought forms, you will never get out of depression, because that's the reality. The reality is depression is your resistance, your non-acceptance of what is. Depression is a friction caused by thought to a situation in your life. If you never accept it, if you don't accept it, you will never get out of depression. Whether you like it or whether you like to hear it or not, that's what will happen. Right?
So like energy.
You can rely on tablets to get out of depression. Yes. For the rest of your life, you can rely on tablets if you like. Because what tablets do is they create a small gap between your neurons and your thoughts. You know, so you don't go to the state of depression. It causes a gap here. You know, so there's a delay, but it is not an eradication. But as long as you still keep thinking, I'm the victim, the world was unfair to me, I'm a victim, this should have been this way, it should not have been this way, you will live in depression. No tablet can remove that. It's a temporary thing. Tell me anything else, Don, or any one of you all here. Tell me any other meaning of depression. Isn't depression caused by your own thoughts?
I would think it is, and then
I'm not saying it is right or wrong. I'm not saying it is right or wrong. I am asking, isn't depression nothing but a reactive thought to a real situation?
I think basically what you're just trying to explain is if once you are in a certain state of understanding how things work, the universe, understanding your inner self, you can actually get yourself. I got myself out of a depression. I did, without anything, without counseling, without anything. I did that. I got myself out of panic attacks too. I used to have them for years. Panic attacks, gone. Like, and
for many people, depression is a good opportunity to get into a spiritual path.
Yeah, that's probably what
depression is a very good opportunity. It's a very good opportunity. Yeah. So sometimes the universe does that. You don't want to go to that path, you're pushed to it. You know, situations and circumstances push you there.
It's true. I was at my rock bottom. I remember just like sitting in the bathtub when I was with my ex, and I was just crying, and I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here. If this is my only option, but I'm trapped, I don't want to be here. And then the next day I was just like, I don't care where I have to go, I'm doing it. Like, rip the Band-Aid off and do it. And it was gone. Once I was out of that house, it was gone. And I knew that's what I had to do for so many years, but I lived in the depression. I lived in it. I dwelled in it. And then I didn't know what to do when I wasn't in it anymore. Because it's a whole environment, you don't know what to do.
Now, this is a good one. Here he says, I believe that it's fueled by your thoughts, but sparked by the external factors.
Oh, yeah.
Very true. External factors sparked it. Now, the external factor is over. Who is carrying it forward? It is your thought. It is your memory. You know? So, for you to get out of that is, first of all, you got to, sometimes you can't change the external factor. You can't help it. You know? But then if you change, that is of course your personal thing. Do you want to feel better? If you want to feel better, try it. Try to change your reaction to that. You know, that's a fact. Sometimes the fact is stubborn. You know, fact is hard to accept sometimes, but that's what it is. You know.
Sometimes
the internal dialogue has to change, because it's the internal dialogue that keeps the depression going. Nothing else. It's not the situation. It is the internal dialogue that keeps going, that keeps it going, sustains it, feeds it. But it is your thought process.
I think it's a lot easier for somebody when they take themselves out of the toxicity to come out of the depression. For me, it was so hard to come out of it when you're sitting in a house with somebody that's calling you names all day, and you're fighting all day, and there's nothing but chaos and toxicity around you. It's very hard to overcome that feeling of depression, no matter how much you talk to yourself internally. And I feel like as an adult, that's when you have to realize, I have to take myself out of this situation, or I'm never going to get better. It's again responsibility for oneself, but you cannot get better if you want to get better in your life, but you're sitting in a snake pit of toxicity. You cannot get better. You cannot be healed in that environment. You have to be in a healing environment. And I think people don't understand that. Even if you have to cut off your own family members for a certain period of time to get yourself right and then come back to it, do whatever you have to do. That's what I believe. You have to do that for yourself.
Yes. So one practical way of doing that is you remove yourself from that situation. That is a very practical action that you can do. That's the immediate action you can take. You know, you can either try to change the situation also. And if you have no control of the situation, if you can't change the situation, you move yourself out of that situation. But, Dawn, you can move out of the situation and you can still carry the situation
Yeah, I
here.
did. It took me about 2 months slowly.
Yeah.
But after 13 years of it, I was like, 2 months is nothing. 13 years went away in like 2 months of just like having the time to myself, of being in a healthy environment where nobody was there to put me down every day, to just realize I could start viewing myself differently. I was viewing myself the way the people around me were viewing me.
Yeah. So sometimes you may have moved yourself to a better environment, but still you are depressed because you're still carrying those memories, those feelings, those emotions, and you're still carrying those reactions. You're generating the whole story over and over again in your mind.
Not anymore.
But moving yourself out of the situation is the first thing that one could try.
I feel like people have to.
Yeah.
I think people feel so guilty, like they just stay in these situations, these miserable relationships or these miserable friendships, or, you feel like you have to. There's so much history. You feel like you're stuck and you're trapped, but you never are. You could take yourself out and make all new friends, all new life at any moment of your life and start over.
Yeah.
Can we talk about quantum physics?
Yeah, actually, now a subject like quantum physics, it's a theoretical thing which is good for the intellectual indulgence, right? I mean, to learn about quantum physics, it's better to go on the internet and do that, because it is nothing to do with our lives. It's an academic thing, what quantum physics is. So I think we should not get into that, if you pardon me for saying it. Quantum physics, you can read on the internet. There are scientists who have written about it. I think that is it's better to get information there, because quantum physics is just a theory. It has nothing to do with our lives, right? It's a theory of the universe. It's a theory of energy. So it has no bearing on our lives. It's a very abstract. It's a subject. It's a subject of study.
Yeah,
it is not.
I always say that research.
We'd rather talk about our human consciousness, because that is what we have not sorted out. We have improved our washrooms, our toilets. We have improved our cars and our transportation. We have improved our communication technology. We have improved our standards of living. But have we improved our states of consciousness for the last 10,000 years? But day in and day out, that is what we grapple with. We have made everything else conveniences, everything else we have made it good. We have made our world beautiful, beautiful roads, beautiful buildings, beautiful houses, new technology. We are comfortable, we are safe than we were 1,000 years ago, right? There's better medicine, there's better surgery. In every aspect of the physical world, we have improved ourselves. But have we improved ourselves psychologically, internally? Have we improved ourselves with our relationships, like I said, with myself and with my friends and my relations and my family and my neighbor? That is what we should be talking about, because that is where unhappiness comes from. That is where happiness comes from.
But when people do a lot of research and studying on things, I always have the same conversation with Detective Popcorn. He's spiritual, but he's so researched and studied, and I look at nothing. I learn as I go of what spirit gives to me, of what comes to my own self-conscious, like in my higher consciousness. So I don't ever care for any of those things, because in the long run, they really will not affect any part of you.
Yeah.
It's all your own mind. It's all your own spirit, your own energy. So studying won't get me anywhere. I don't even look at any of it.
Now, something very interesting is here. He says social media can kill a man. It is something also which I find it difficult to believe, because we can make a choice. How we use social media. It's the same with everything. Like even if you take medicine, even if you take a car, even if you take a building, if you take what you study, you can use it for good and bad also. So social media inherently cannot be bad. It's how we use it. Alcohol. There are people who, now my father, he drank his entire life as an adult. But he did not drink too much to kill himself. But then there are people who drink and kill themselves in just 5 years, 10 years, you know. So it is not that alcohol is inherently bad, it's how you use it. So likewise, social media is something, it's a tool. You know, you can, you know, it is how you use it.
Detective Popcorn thinks too logical. So too logical.
So we should not say that social media is good or bad. Social media is what it is. But it is how we use it.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes good or bad to us. You know.
I use it to project as much positivity as I can with a
It is
little
your
bit of both.
reality. It is what matters, you know.
Oh, so Levi wants to get into, can you send some high energy to our Discord group, please? Yes, we were going to talk about that. I was telling them
Now,
just a little bit.
what is this Discord
Absolutely.
group? Which group are you referring to as a Discord
My
group?
business.
Your Discord. Well,
So
the
we were
energy is good here. The energy is good here. I don't see any discord in the energy here.
Yeah, I know. And not everybody from that is in here right now is in the business. But what I'm saying is we were talking about you were going to start doing something special, like sending certain types of energies to make people's like become more successful. If you can elaborate on that. That's what Levi was kind of asking about.
Ah, okay, I got it. Right. So it's like this now, Dawn, in this group, now although this live stream is open to the public or, you know, anyone who wants to join, right? Now here there's a core group of people having a common interest, having a common goal, right? Of investing or, you know, there's a group of people working on stocks, right? So there's a common goal here. You all have a common objective. And so as a group, we can all use this platform to consolidate and to strengthen our intention, you know, and I in turn can energize that so that your common intentions will multiply, will grow to bear successful results more often as possible, you know. And we can use this situation, we can use this live discussion that we are having to transmit that energy, you know, which I can generate, and while talking to you, we can use this opportunity to increase our energy levels so that what we do, first of all, as a common objective can become successful, and also there'll be a spillover effect into your other aspects of life as well, you know. So that is so that we can make one purpose of this discussion, you know, where this group somehow I feel that this group is going to be very successful as a group, and you're not going to grow very much, because I see a lot of y'all, I would say the majority of y'all having a lot of success here. Now, I believe there are other groups like these investment groups, right, who are involved in the stock market. Am I right, John?
Other discords and businesses that do the same kind of a thing, but it's different. But yeah.
Yeah. So, this is something I have seen, that this particular group will grow in numbers and also it will grow in success. So there's a correlation between the two, right? You all will become more and more successful, and then you all will become more and more popular. More people will join in, so that itself is a success. But most of all, your figures, your statistics will improve, will grow.
So we should test
one contributing factor for that will be the energy that you all inhabit, the energy that you all bring into this, because now you all have been exposed to, you all have got a taste of something spiritual also. where you all are not only looking at desire, always trying to achieve something only in the physical level, but now you all have access to another dimension, a spiritual dimension, which has less resistance. Because like I told you earlier, getting back to that, which form are you in? If you are solid, you can't be flexible. But when you are liquid, you can go into new areas which you have not gone, so that you can use to empower your success. In that sense, and then you become spirit, you become, from liquid you become spirit. That means you become lighter, and then you can become more successful. It's a new dimension that you're operating from. Earlier you were operating from a very stiff, very rigid, very narrow point of view, with a very, very low energy. But now you're acquiring higher energies, and that energy you're putting into what you're doing, rather than try to take out from what you're doing. So when you put energy into what you're doing, it will give you better results.
Yes.
You understand
Don't get
how it
distracted
works?
by the chat. I was talking
Yeah,
about something
yeah.
else, not what we're talking about right now. And this is important because I want to do this for everybody in there, for them to know how to do it, and then especially with you to be able to put your extra oomph on it. So we could talk about Elon, or we could talk about growing your portfolio. That's up to you, Popcorn. So if you want to be in this, I suggest get in it right now, because we can do something here that will really help. You need to watch last week's episode if you weren't here, AMC Kingdom. We already got into all that, and we even gave it a timeline. So you'll have to watch. You can watch it. It's on my YouTube. It's long, more towards the middle to the end, but we got into all that. It's actually really good. So let's get into the first thing I want to ask, because this is important business-wise. When we are trading, in the state of trading, many people get emotional. They get like they get too much emotional. I trade like numb. I have no feelings when I go like a robot when I trade, because I feel like that's what you have to do. You don't want to sit there and be nervous or realize it's your money. I try to be zen, like as if I was in a meditative state when I'm trading. When somebody is trading, what state mindset should they try to be in during trading? I feel like is a good question. Yes, I feel like I'm shut off completely too, Mike. Like I'm shut off from everything.
Yeah, so now let's look at what you said. I feel I have shut off from everything. So what does it mean? What do you mean by shut off? Why are you saying that? It's because what you're saying is you have completely or almost completely stopped your reactive, compulsive, conditioned thoughts.
Reactive. That's the most important word.
You have subdued that. So that's what you are meaning. So what you said with these words actually means that, whereas other people are very reactive, their thoughts are very active, and that causes anxiety. So that's another purpose of this meeting that we have, that where we try to reduce our the heavy thoughts, the heavy reactive thoughts, because they come and interfere with true intelligence. So when you say I feel calm, I feel zen-like, that means you have calmed down and neutralized the thoughts that come and disturb you, that causes anxiety, that causes tension, that causes stress, which is not a good vibe to have success. So to see success, you must always calm yourself. So that comes out of confidence. If you don't have confidence in what you do, you become stressed, you become doubtful. So that's a negative state of being. That's a negative state of consciousness.
I just want to know how they get to not.
So it's always better when you feel that way. It's always better to take some deep breaths, for example. Because when you take very deep breaths, your mind calms down, your thought processes calm down. Because it's actually like a paradox, because you think, okay, especially when you're in the stock market, there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of things to analyze. So you need to have a very active mind. That's what you think, which is true in a certain way. But then you cannot have a compulsive, reactionary mind flow, thought flow going on in your mind. That is destructive, right? Yeah. So you can go into the energy field of your body. You can go into the energy field of your breath. Just for a few seconds, and then you reset yourself to a calmer, to a deeper level in your body, and from there, intelligence of the universe will start to take over. Not your petty thoughts, your petty ways of analyzing things, which have been like redundant, which have been like used and used and used, and it's old. You're allowing the universe to pump in new intelligence into you. Intelligence is sometimes beyond reasoning. Most of the time, intelligence, I'm not talking of intellectual intelligence. I'm talking about universal intelligence.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because I feel it through me. I trade, and people usually don't understand, because I just have a different perspective when I'm trading than a normal logical brain.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
So in your group, I have felt, this is my second interaction, I have felt there are a few people who are embodying that level of consciousness, who are at that level, who can go deep within themselves. So that will also touch other people, although you don't know it yet. And
so
now
when
you're
we're in the group and there's like 4 or 5 of us that are that way, it will help the others around us to also start embodying that.
Yes, because it will touch the other person, which I call, you all are like, the word I use is frequency holders. You maintain that good frequency, you maintain that good vibe, so the others will also others will get affected. Those who are very hyper, those who are very anxious, those who are very worried, and overreactive, overthinking, because you need that collective calmness. So when you interact with a person like me who generally doesn't go in that direction, so my energy also touches you all, and then you can hold on to that, and take it forward and share it with others.
Well, yeah. When I'm in a life situation, for example, and I'm in distress and I'm mad and like something just happened, I can call Genie. I'll be on the phone with Genie. I'm like, and then by the time I'm done with the phone call, I'm right back into my my regular state of mind. But there's always that once in a while, no matter where you are in your journey, where you're gonna get thrown off a little bit. And I'm like, motherfucker. And he's like,
yeah.
What you have to do, and that's what I need him for. Sometimes I need that. How do I get to the next level? What should I be doing right now? Because it gets confusing sometimes. What should my reaction be? I don't want to react to something out of emotion, or it's important, and especially with trading, you don't want to react to anything emotional out of emotion at all. That's how you screw up your money.
Yeah. Don't let me interrupt. We are getting close to the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue, or do you want to call it?
No, we can call it. I just wanted to get onto the topic of the trading. So now that they know just the beginning stages of what state of mind to try to get into while they're trading, can you just explain real quick, what it is that you were saying that you can do?
Yes. So now we have 7 minutes more. So we can actually like a concluding, like a prayer, or like a concluding sharing of energy. We can use this opportunity to do that. I think that is a good thing we can do, right? So, but there's something that you guys also have to do when you're getting to trading. So one thing is, before trading day, the previous night,
that's tonight,
before you go to bed, you must go to bed in the feeling of having had a good day tomorrow. So it is like, you're putting the time this way, So you go to bed feeling that you have already completed a good day of trading.
Got it.
Don't do this imagination and all those stuff. Okay, I mean, just feel it.
Just the
Just
feeling.
feel as if today is the end of a good trading day and go to sleep.
Yeah.
As if now, this moment, you're going to bed now, you are in bed, you have covered yourself, you're about to fall asleep. Imagine this moment that you are spending in bed just before falling asleep is the moment of tomorrow going to bed with a sense of satisfaction, with a sense of fulfillment that you made a good run. But don't think of figures in dollars.
Yes.
That is dangerous. You only have to dwell in that feeling
The feeling.
of being
And then you can limit
successful.
yourself if you put dollars on it. Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, don't put dollars on that. Just go with that feeling and you go to sleep. Right? When you wake up the following morning, whether you know it or not, your subconscious mind has processed this with the universe while you were sleeping. Right? And it will do its work when you start trading the following day. So that is
Now,
number one.
before we go into the trading, is there anything, should we take like 2 minutes or whatever it is? Is there anything
Yeah,
you feel
I haven't gone there yet. I'm still not gone there yet. Hang on.
I'm excited. I like this.
Right? So this is what you have to do the night before. So when you get up the following morning, whether you know it or not, your subconscious mind has started a action with the universe to make your day successful. Right? So whether you do anything or not, it doesn't matter anymore because you have already done your work. It's already done. Now you had only wait for your results. You know. So when you go in for the trading day, 1 or 2 minutes before it or 1 or 2 whatever, before that, all you have to do is just close your eyes and remember that you already had a successful day and develop a sense of confidence, not positive energy. Don't mix that up again. You already embody a sense of confidence. That's all. Confidence of what? Doesn't matter. Just feel confident. So when you don't have confidence of what, you feel lighter. So lighter means you have higher frequency, not, lower frequency means more dense. It's heavy. It's
whatever you did, you just did something now because I feel even my eyelids are like this. I already feel like calm. Like
that's the way to feel it now. Because if you can't feel it now, you will never feel it tomorrow.
I do. I feel it now.
Yeah, that is the most important thing. Whatever I'm telling you now, you must feel it already. While I'm talking, you got to feel it alive. If you don't feel it now, you will not. The chances of you feeling it tomorrow will be abstract. It will not be the real feeling. It will be more abstract. So you do this tonight before going to bed. Feel successful. Feel complete. Feel fulfilled. And when you get up in the morning, you will embody that feeling, whether you know it or not. Your subconscious mind over the night while you were sleeping has done its work, and it has prepared the field for your seed to grow and be successful and to give you good yield, to give you good fruit. So it has already prepared the groundwork. So just before trading, a few minutes before that, when you open your computer or your phone or whatever, right, you just go into a sense of satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of confidence, because that will immediately negate any stress, any anxiety that you may have been building up earlier. You don't have to stress yourself to get rid of anxiety, because what you have already prepared has done it for you, and you don't need to deal with that. All you have to do is dwell in the sense of confidence. Then you will notice that everything will move with ease. But remember, you have been conditioned in the past to react in certain ways, to embody a certain mind frame, a mindset. You might fall back into that. If something doesn't happen the way you expected, you might panic. But then get back to your level of confidence.
So don't do any more tricks at that time. Step back at that time, get back into that state of mind, and then continue trading. Do not continue trading unless you get back in that feeling, which like the one I feel right now where your eyelids get heavy, like you just feel calm.
So while talking to you, I have already, put out energy for you all to be successful. I have willed, so to speak. I have put out my intentions to make this happen to as a group, So the group entails individuals of different levels of knowledge and different levels of skill. But as a group, your energy levels will be upheld for success, So I have also willed, like I told you, I have put out success energy to each one of you. And
Yes, Kim,
you
you're
are
really
most
close to.
welcome,
I'm
Kim. You are
telling you,
most
I'm never
welcome.
tired, and I'm like, I feel like I just took a weed gummy.
Yeah. Right? So this is something special that this group is going to have, because you all will be fed, you all will be nourished um, with this higher energy levels to be maintained throughout your business, so to speak. So you take this into your business. So you put in joy into your business, in other words. Without what we do is we put stress into the business and expect satisfaction. That's what we
Yeah.
all do in every way. We put effort, we put sweat, we put blood, we put anger, hatred, competition, and we expect good results. So even if we expect good results, because we have contaminated it
Plant the
with
seed.
negativity, it will not last long. But here in your group, because you all are going into a new approach to success, your success can be sustained long term.
And this is so different than like anything else anywhere else. You don't hear
Yeah.
this shit anywhere else. You're not getting it anywhere else. It's just not. I'm going to be very curious. So by the end of the week, let's see how everybody did that actually put this into action every single night and every morning. Live in that and see what the difference was by the end of next week to how you performed last week. If you made improvements. I would be very curious of that. So that's something will be cool. And we can go over that with you when we do our next session.
Yeah. Okay then.
Jehovah said I can't tell my eyelids from the whiskey or this talk. It's the talk. He did that. He did his.
Yeah. I hope it will be neither. I hope it was self-generated. These heavy eyelids, if it came by you, by yourself, maybe it happened, who knows?
I'm telling you, it came from you. Because I'm just like,
Yeah.
I even look like I smoked or something right now. I don't smoke. I'm so calm.
Thank you, Derek. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I like this environment. This is very nice. You have some nice people. You all, each one of you all are blessed to have met each other. So that's very, very important.
Yes, I appreciate you so much. And
Yeah.
just so you guys know too, me and Genie are gonna start making like little segment videos that are not live streamed that are going to be teachings on certain things like about manifestation and universal law. So that whenever at any time, if anybody wants to watch one, it'll just be like little short things. If you want to learn about one certain thing, there's like a 15 or 20-minute video on it that I think is going to be really, really helpful. We're going to have it on my YouTube channel while his website is getting built, and then everything will automatically be shared on there as well. And I just want to remind everybody, I will, after we close this out, put his information at the bottom. You guys can reach him on WhatsApp. It's not one of those fake WhatsApp, how's your trading day going? It's because he lives in Sri Lanka. You guys can contact him at any time to set up any sort of appointment. He can help you with your finances, your personal business, actually like consults for if you own a business, anything, any aspect of life, your spiritual growth, finances, all of it. So he's the one to go to for all
Even
that.
your private lives, your relationships with, personal relationships, any aspect of your life, any advice, any counseling, any guidance, any insights and guidance that you want into the situation, we can have a look.
Yeah, even if you're just a person like me that's kind of like spiritual and you feel like you've been stuck kind of on the same level for a while, it gets like that sometimes. You get in that
Right.
like stagnant kind of stage where it's been like after like 3 or 4 weeks, I'm like, I haven't felt like I've had any type of growth. You can contact for that too, to be like, all right, what should I be working on now? And I swear he would give me like one little thing of homework and it was like, boom, I jolted 3 levels. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? So everybody needs that in their life. I'm telling you.
Yeah, especially if you want to also understand about the phenomena of life, why things happen, why things don't happen, concerning how the universe works, how luck, unluck works, how karma works. Even we can have chats on that also.
Yeah, I
Okay,
love it.
then.
So
Thank you very
thank you
much,
guys.
everyone.
I love you guys.
Yeah,
Listen, mofos, go to sleep tonight in that state of mind. Okay? Do
yeah.
not forget. And in the morning, I'm going to remind you when we all say, all right, time for coffee at 9:15. I'm going to say, take your 2 minutes. Feel like you had a weed gummy. Just think about Genie, and we have to be calm and confident. Calm. It's no more calm, cool, and collected. Calm, confident. The 2 C's. Calm and
Yes. Calm and confidence.
love it.
Wish you
Love
all
you
the
guys.
best.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Genie.
Bye bye.
They love you.